Namaskar, hello everyone. Today and every Monday we are here with Didi Ananda Deva Priya and myself discussing interesting questions about spiritual and social philosophy of yoga, tantra, exploring different questions about spirituality and about moral and spiritual and inspired way of living in society. And today we have topic about society, about the role of a spiritual practitioner, what we are supposed to do. Are we supposed to stay in the cave and do very advanced sadhana as we do? Actually, I think it would be nice. One life just be there in the cave.
Really?
Yeah. So, welcome everyone. Hello, Didi. How are you?
Namaskar, Dada. I'm now in the US this time, other side of the planet.
In India, you will be in better shape. You sound a little bit.
Yeah, I got a cold. So Dada, this question is coming of, is it selfishness to meditate? Especially when you see all around us, there's crisis, the world is burning and stuff like this. What are we supposed to do? You say that, you've said many times, we should not serve from a place of emptiness. No, it should come out of a feeling of fullness. So how do you relate this? How do we know when spirituality is helping us to serve better, or if it's just an elaborate form of kind of avoidance and spiritual bypassing?
It can be, unfortunately, it can be, because meditation does have this capacity to increase your pain threshold. So basically, when you are meditating, you are not feeling suffering. Your endorphins are released. Your cortisol is getting decreased secretion. So when you are meditating, you can feel much better. So it is a trap also, because once you start feeling much better, you feel, oh, it's okay, everything is, Hakuna Matata. This kind of, it can be, but if you really follow the true ideology of the spiritual path, really if you understand how the consciousness works and how the energy works, there is no choice but to be active. To be active in your personal life, in your family life, in your social life. So we talk sometimes about philosophy, and there is this idea of Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha, or consciousness, is the material from which the universe is made of. And Prakriti is the energy that attributes the shape to the Purusha, to attributes the stance, the state to the Purusha. So, and then there are two types of Prakriti, on nature. One is, it's like a vector, like one form of energy. You are rising up, your consciousness become more and more subtle. And then there is another one. Your consciousness is degenerating slowly, it's going down. So one is called Vidya, or the force of knowledge, and another one is called Avidya. And they manifest themselves in a similar way, actually. There are two things. One is knowledge component, and another one is action component. So if you want to progress in life, first you have to get one kind of spark of inspiration in you. Oh, we should do a stream with Didi. No? It's a great idea. Let's try. So that is the spark. That's the seed of knowledge. The seed of action. Knowledge is the seed of action. So in Sanskrit, it's called Sambit Shakti, or the force of awakening. But if this force of awakening, it will, if you are not going to act upon it, it's going to again sleep. So
it's like a sprouting seed. Yeah, it's like samvita is like the moment it sprouts, but if you don't plant it in the ground, it dies there.
Yeah, if you don't plant, if you don't water it, then slowly, slowly it
So it's
withers
not
away.
not enough just to have a sprout farm. You know, you need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
take it the next level.
yeah. So really, if you want to progress, these two factors you need to develop: the knowledge, the spark, the divine spark inside of you, the idea, I want to do that, and action. Finally,
So
you
you
have to do it.
have to like catch the inspiration. You have to have a way to tap deeper inside of yourself to catch inspiration from a deep source, is what you're saying. Not just like your average inspiration. I feel like eating ice cream, you know, but like a deeper connection to inspiration. And then you need to be able to manifest it.
Yeah, like I want to do sports from now on. My belly is growing. I want to do, I want to burn a little bit fat. So I will start tomorrow exercises. And then tomorrow nothing happens. So there
Yeah.
was a spark. And when there is a spark, at that moment you feel joy. At that
Yeah.
moment you feel joy. And you feel like a hopeful. You feel hopeful. Anahata chakra works. Really, you feel hopeful. You believe there will be better future. And but if you don't act on it, it will sleep. But if you act on it, then you progress. And similarly, the force of ignorance works. First, it will come to you as a defective thought. Oh, maybe I should not meditate. Maybe I should stop meditating, for example. I don't get so much benefit from meditation. Oh, it's so much effort. What for? So this is like a very seed of ignorance. It starts kind of tempting you,
Mm.
enticing you.
Mm.
But if you don't act on it, it's okay. It will also pass. It will disappear.
This is like that saying about procrastination, the right use of procrastination. No,
The
if you
best.
wait, things fade, good and bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to do something good, do it right away. You want to do something bad, delay. Because if you want to do something good right away and you don't do it right away, the inspiration passes. But the same thing also can happen when you want to do something bad. So,
Yeah.
right use of procrastination.
Yeah, so almost by definition, spirituality is connected with action. There is no spirituality without action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, when you were talking at the very beginning about the endorphins and stuff, actually, what came to my mind was that saying, and I'm wondering if you want to differentiate it a bit. You know, there's this saying that religion is the opiate of the masses. So, how do you see the connection
It can
and
be.
differentiation?
It can be because it gives, religion gives hope that sometime in the future we are going to enjoy the paradisical pleasures and happiness. And sometime, not today, not today. Today we suffer, we endure pain, but there is a promise, and that there is a hope. So hope, in the definition of avaduta or like realized person, there is this lines. It says, "Asha pasha vinirmukta adi madhyanta nirmalam anandena vartate nityam akara tasya lakshanam." The word avaduta consists of 4 letters. So the first letter A, so it's described, and this first letter A denotes 3 qualities. So first one, Asha Pasha Vinirmukta, the one who has forever, who have definitely and completely defeated the hope. He who has become liberated from hope. He's not hope.
Liberated from hope. Really?
Liberated from hope. He doesn't have hope.
That's what it means.
Yeah, Asha Pasha Vinirmukta, forever liberated from hope.
Oh, that's
So
so interesting.
because hope is a positive feeling for sure, but it is connected with anxiety. So it's like a double-sided coin. If you have hope, you have anxiety also at the same time.
Because it's projecting you in the future, like it's not centered in the here and now. It's like putting you like, maybe that will happen. And so there's expectation. Is
Maybe
that why?
that will
It's
not
like,
happen. What if
maybe
will
it will not happen.
yeah.
Maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So it puts you in like a state of uncertainty and expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And then
when
how should you be if you don't have hope? It doesn't mean you're hopeless, no, and that you're defeatist and you're
yeah,
sad, depressed. So what is that state without hope but not hopeless? It's kind of
yeah, it says Adim Adyanta Nirmalam means in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, pure. Anandena Vartate Nityam Akaratasya Lakshanam, who is always established in divine bliss. That person has realized or fulfilled one characteristic of saintlyhood.
I'm always so jealous when you're able to like repeat whole Sanskrit shlokas like that so perfectly. You
So,
have a great memory for it.
yeah, so instead of hope,
Yeah.
we should have faith.
Oh.
And faith is, I figured out, like, Anahata chakra is in between the lower chakras and the higher chakras. So the higher chakras inspire us to the noble path, and the lower chakras, they inspire us to our animality, basically survivals at different forms of survivals.
Right.
So when Anahata chakra is influenced by the lower chakras, hope becomes anxiety. And
Wow, that's interesting.
yeah, fear. Yeah, fear mixed with fear. So, but when it's influenced by higher chakras, then hope is becoming mixed with viveka, with ability to see through time, see the future. Not literally, but such a hope, when it is so strong, when you're almost you are seeing the future, that is faith. That is the quality of the all great people in the earth. Those the visionaries who have who believed so strongly in their mission. They knew it's going to pass, it's going to happen. So that's.
But I have a question. Like faith implies to me that you sort of have to trust something you don't know. But when you're saying it's without hope, so isn't that more like just knowing? Like Vivek is kind of, for me, discriminating between permanent and impermanent. What is real and what's kind of your mind playing games with itself, delusions and could even include like hopes and things like this. And what's actually real, like right now, right here. It's not somewhere else, because when we talked about religion as an opiate, it's kind of like this idea of escapism, going somewhere else, to experience it. But actually, that supreme presence isn't somewhere else, it isn't often a heaven. It isn't in some other, you don't have to like go somewhere. You have to actually just clear yourself to kind of be perceiving that it is here. It isn't somewhere else. It is right here. Is that faith, or is that more like a kind of knowing, like direct perception?
Yeah, in my understanding, this is faith. So in my understanding, the real faith is not like a naive faith, like children, they believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And you can say they have a very strong faith, but that faith is blind, that faith is based on ignorance, that faith is not is incapable of supporting itself. So, but the faith I'm talking about is just very strong inner knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, intuition, like a very powerful intuition.
Actually, because we can also use the word faith in a different way, which is like a faithful friend. It's sort of like, when you're deep trust in what is true, like it's an ability to be loyal and dedicated to a truth or a value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. I want to ask you now some more like specific questions that take this kind of down to earth and to practical things that are happening right now. So like, I get comments sometimes in our community about people feeling helpless when they're watching situations in the world unfold, when they see conflicts going on, wars in Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia. We ourselves have so many people that are on both sides of all of these conflicts. And so how can we support people to, what is the role actually of a spiritual person? What can we do when we see all of these things happening, not only just between people, but even on the level of climate? Like this week, there was big Hurricane Melissa, destroying Jamaica. And I'm thinking, oh God, should we do something? Like, do we have a team there? What are they doing? But how can ordinary people, without any extraordinary political influence or anything like this, what is our role? What is our capacity to reduce suffering and maintain our spiritual focus? Because sometimes when you see all these depressing things, it makes you lose faith. This is a common reaction, actually, to seeing stuff that makes you feel overwhelmed, and that it's just like, oh, I don't even know where to start. And then that can lead to that kind of, oh, better I just go off and, take care of myself and, don't look too much outside because it distresses me, especially if I'm sensitive. And so that's where that, meditation could also potentially be a way of escapism. It makes me feel good. And so, what's your perspective on the role and responsibility of sensitive spiritual people to live well through these things, to live in a responsible, responsive way?
Yeah, I have heard this many times, that people say, if such atrocities happen in the world, how God, who is loving, how
Yeah.
he can allow this to happen? So it must be a proof that God doesn't exist.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's the statement, and many people really struggle with this kind of feeling.
Yeah.
If God allows these things, he might be either evil God, or so much suffering, so much pain in the world, or he just incapable God. He's unable to alleviate any sufferings like that. So I think we need to broaden our perspective, and we should understand actually all the bad things it has happened throughout the history. I think now is the best time we are enjoying, and so far I think this is the best period in humanity's history.
I think that's a really good thing to just underline, that you're saying that, because I do think we do tend to look, only right in front of us, and especially because the news is feeding us stuff to keep us hooked. And so it's always magnifying and focusing on, the really negative things. And we lose perspective on how the world might have been 1,000 years ago,
Yeah,
500
even
years ago.
200 years ago, come on.
Yeah.
200, even you do the dental work, just appreciate how lucky you are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you, let's say you got some toothache at the age of 20, there is no drilling, and there is no plumbering, there is no nothing. Nobody can help you. I mean, only take out. And then by 30, you are toothless, and there is not even brush to brush your teeth. There is nothing. So, I mean, in general, the evolution is going on, and the suffering is diminishing, but yet still there are some things. So, I take it in the perspective of evolution that this is necessary for humans to go through, because normally you don't have that in a static stance. Like, there are two ways to develop. One way is internal attraction, and another one is external pressure. So the developed mind mostly moves forward through internal attraction. So there is something attracting you. There is some mystical calling in you. You want to explore. You want to evolve. You understand there is a greater future. You understand how limited is my reality. How limited is this world of five senses. So there must be a bigger world, intellectual world. And even intellectual world, how limited it is. Yes, you can have great joy when you discover something. Yet, it is not that deep. You cannot experience that sort of bliss that we are experiencing when we are doing meditation, when we are going into spiritual ecstasy, that is the real life. That is the deep and beautiful thing. So there is an attraction, there is this desire. Like I was almost, driven by this desire when I was young. I was luckily there was no any substances so for me to get hooked on, because I would be very gladly destroying my life just for the glimpse of divine. So because I was so driven, just totally driven with this thing. Only alcohol was helping me a little bit to to get some sense of divinity, a little bit touch with that. So yeah, what I was talking. So when your soul is developed, you have that strong drive inside of you. But when your soul is not developed, you will not move anywhere. You are just like a cow. You are grazing there. You only will move if the stick will come. With the stick, then you start moving more. And I don't want to undermine the suffering of any person. Of course, I sympathize with everybody. Nobody should suffer. But the reality is somehow on the level, I don't think even individual level here. I think it is on the collective level to produce some kind of churning in the collective psyche of the humanity. Something has to happen. Something has to happen. Like we had First World War, we had Second World War, and there was some shifts. And then for some time we remembered all those atrocities. We remembered all that pain and suffering. And then we were telling ourselves, never, never again, never again. Then again we start to forget about it. And then again we need to go into that. It's some just like teachings, like a child has to experience. The child has to experience falls, touch the fire, get burned. And so slowly, slowly, the child gets educated. So our humanity is just like a child trying to walk. So needs to get this, bruises and fall, then again stand up.
So do you think
Sometimes.
there's some progress? Because it is so demoralizing to see, like you said, people thought, oh, this will never happen again. And now it seems to be happening again. So do you think there is an upward trend?
I think there is a progress on many issues. Many issues. Today, at least, we don't owe the slaves, but in other hand, you can say that the entire modern system is a sort of slavery also, because the system is so much well tuned. In every country, I travel many places. In every country, if it is a so-called poor country, but in the end, you are living the same life as, as a rich country, because you are, like when you earn a lot of money, you will also spend a lot of money. Your life is tuned in such a way that you are just there, just surviving. So you're like, I saw some educational videos about business, and the business coaches they advise to their students, businessmen, that don't hire a person who is all right. Hire a hungry person who has wife, who has children, who has a couple of loans on his shoulders, who needs to pay loan for his apartment, who needs to pay the loan for the car. That person is going to work well for you because he is hungry, he needs. Otherwise, if you hire a person who is healthy, who is alone, and he doesn't have any motivation. So the whole system is tuned now to force humanity to work, to move, and we don't already see what is the point of this, because we have to work 5 days a week. Not we work 7 days a week, you and me, but at least we have some purpose, we have some great and noble ideal that we are trying to achieve. But for many people, just you work 5 days a week for what? And with all this technological development, I remember how my parents were living. They were not living much worse than what we live. Yeah, we have many gadgets, but my parents, they have free time. They could go on, vacation, and they could travel, and they could, and so today, But technology has developed so much. We're supposed to work only maybe 3 days now in a week, and that should be enough to supply with all the great things that technology gives.
Well, it depends what the goal of the society is, which is not necessarily to increase the well-being of the workers. It's more to increase the productivity of the company and, get one person to do the work of 5 people instead of to do, work less and have a better quality of life. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's a
So
deeper structural. This is where actually it isn't enough maybe only to look at individual coping mechanisms, but deeper structural changes are needed to help humanity move in a direction that would lead to more people being able to develop themselves in a more subtle way and not just be slaves to the system like you're describing.
I think it will go. I think there is one reason is our socioeconomic structure, the system based on greed,
Yep.
pump the money out of human beings. But I think there is also cosmic reason for that. I think humanity maybe is not ready to be free. What we are going to do with our freedom, if we are not internally motivated to move, then maybe
This is it.
yeah.
I was using a metaphor the other day with someone. It's like we were talking about AI, and I was saying how it's I mean, it's like having a moving sidewalk in the airport. You've got this moving sidewalk to help you to cross these long, boring corridors, and you start walking on it. And if you're walking at a good speed, you go like twice as fast as the people who are not on the moving sidewalk. But there's all these people that just stop in the middle of the moving sidewalk, and they're not moving. They're just hanging out, letting the sidewalk carry them along. And they're actually going slower, like half the speed of the people who are walking with their own feet. And so, I mean, I think it's like this, like any kind of technology, if you're using it well, you could accelerate your progress. But a lot of people just become lazier, just become, less motivated, do less, and they're actually losing their capacity compared to if they weren't using that helper.
Not only that, it is also dangerous because, once you are playing that race, I want to become rich, I want to become successful, you're hoping that I'm going to achieve that and I'm going to be happy. But as soon as you provide everybody with basic necessities, then it will be very clear for everyone that there is no happiness in life. There is no hope in life. So at that moment, you have to either start doing spiritual practice to move forward, to expand in your consciousness, to achieve the heights of intellectuality and spirituality, or you are going to go into depression. You are going to go into this kind of meaninglessness, hopelessness, depression, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. I mean, that's where I think the deeper shift of humanity, like to achieve even better social justice or whatever, has to start with some shifting on understanding what is our purpose. What are we
That's a
here
very
for?
good word you used, shift. So I think the shift has to happen in the realm of ideology.
Mm,
So this word, it's not likable by everyone. The ideology, it comes to mind, the 20th century with all the crazy ideologies, which were
exactly.
there. Like, yeah.
Fascism,
Yeah, kind of, yes. So
communism.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's certain ideologies that of the past, and then yeah, and so this word has some negative connotation, but actually, without ideology, uh, without this clear-cut idea, without clear understanding, what is the purpose of human life? What is the purpose of society?
So is that what ideology is? The answer to that is ideology?
Yeah, there is a very complicated and intellectual answer by our guru. He says, idea is the state of psycho-spiritual parallelism. So when your mind expands and achieves some kind of parallel, so in that parallel state between unit mind and cosmic mind, you get this flash of brilliance. It's like, wow, now I saw something. And that's what we call idea. So
Right. So it's
psychospiritual
this
pluralism.
idea that idea, we usually think of idea as something I invent in my own mind, no? But this is more like you open yourself up to align yourself with truth, and then truth kind of comes through you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a totally different conception.
So that's idea. And then ideation is when the idea is supported by the glands and subglands and nerves. When you get high on your idea, when you experience an idea and you feel like, wow, and then you feel, vibrated, and you feel motivated, and you feel blissful with that idea. So that's ideation. And
Yeah,
then
it's interesting. That's an interesting way of putting it, because I think of ideation as sort of related to the faculty of imagination, only that imagination is like I'm creating an image, I'm creating something that's not there inherently. But like ideation is like I'm trying to perceive what's actually there. But it's very close, like, because it sort of feels like you're imagining something, but you're imagining something that is, and you're bringing your mind into that parallelism you just talked about. And when you catch it right, it's like exactly what you said, like a big wow, a big flash of illumination, as they say.
and bliss.
Yes.
And then finally, ideology is when the idea is brought into psychophysical realm.
Mm.
So it is brought on the level of intellect,
Mm.
and it is brought on the level of life, society, the world, material world,
Culture.
culture.
Habit. Yeah.
So that becomes ideology. So once you perceive that idea, how human beings should live, what is the goal of life? So you can formulate that ideology through questions. Actually, this knowingly everyone follows the ideology. Not everyone. Some people are just flowing, like, somehow trying to adjust, find the more comfortable life and less hard life. But once you reach that spiritual maturity, and how to know that you are reaching that spiritual maturity? When you are starting to deal with those questions: who am I? What is the purpose of my life? What is this world? How should I live in this world? Once you start having those questions and somehow you answer those questions, you acquire an ideology for yourself. Your
Can I share with
internal,
you?
your own ideology.
I want to share with you the image that's coming to my mind as you speak. And it's of, when you're talking, okay, some people don't have it. It's sort of like a boat floating on the ocean without a rudder, without a sail. It's just sort of drifting along the currents of the ocean. It's moving, but randomly, versus like the sailor who's got their eyes on the North Star, on that, like, that's kind of like the fixed truth, something that you can count on. And they're orienting, they're navigating, they're controlling the ship, they're leading it towards their destination. They're navigating, they're not just floating anymore. That to me seems, when you were talking, I was feeling like that kind of reminds me of living with a purpose.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the power of ideology. So once you have that, and then, okay, several individuals, lucky individuals, they are able to discover that in themselves, by themselves. Sometimes they get it wrong also. But I think the major shift happens when the entire society knows the answer to those questions, those most important questions. And then with those, we can prioritize so many conflicting interests in the society. How should be our education? Where we should spend resources? So there has to happen ideological shift in society.
Yeah, really good. I want to bring you back again to just the idea that, okay, we are seeing around us different forms of atrocities, not that they're new. I mean, there were also in the past, like we were saying, but there are right now things happening. And how are we connected to that? Like, I like how you sometimes refer to us human societies like an ecosystem. We're all interconnected. So within that, what's our responsibility? Are there some things that are really not my problem? At the same time, how much sphere of influence do you practically have? How do you deal with it in a way that's realistic? And so you're not getting overwhelmed or frustrated, but that you're also not just passively becoming part of the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's, I think this Stephen Covey, he formulated this principle, sphere of influence and sphere of concern. We all are concerned, but we don't have influence over something. So we have to be realistic about our power, what we can do, what we cannot do, and especially focus within that our ability. If we can reach, we exercise certain influence, we do have certain resources. So within that scope, what we can do. So it is important to figure that out and not to just lament, because sometimes I saw people, they, ready to put the ashes on the on the head and constantly lament that, oh, what a terrible world.
Yeah.
How can I live in this world? And it is demotivating. So I think as a human beings, number one, what we have to do, we have to constantly increase our capacity. And it has been given as an idea of service in yoga philosophy. And service is like exercising your muscles. You have essentially 4 muscles. Number one, physical muscle. You do something physically. For example, somebody is sick, you bring tea to that person. You give massage to that person. That's within your influence. You can do it, do it. It is a physical service. Using your physical energy, physical skill to help other people. Then there is a warrior service. Warrior service, it has 2 dimensions. One is protecting the weak, and second, disciplining the undisciplined. Like, for example, the boss at the job, he is doing essentially this warrior service, the Kshatriya Chitta Seva. His role is to discipline his workers, to set up the system that brings the best out of the human being. The parents, their service to the children is also Kshatriya Chitta Seva, warrior, especially the father.
That's a very interesting way of putting it.
Father will say, hey, and the child, okay. This kind of the use of that, Kshatriyan force to create a discipline in the society, in the family, at job, everywhere. Organize people, like a managerial capacity. So then next capacity goes our intellectual capacity. If you just manage people, force them to do what they need to do without making them understand why they need to do that, that's called authoritarianism. Maybe it is very effective system, and maybe it is even good system for the people, but people will feel oppressed in that system. So next form of service is why. So that's answering that question, why, that intellectual transmission, this ability and the philosophical service to explain the person, what is the purpose of life, how you should do, what you should not do. So that's very transformative also. It's a great service.
Yeah.
And then there is a Vaishyan type of service, which is serving with your financial capacity. Let's say you are not happy with your neighborhood. So build a school, make your neighborhood better. Or do something with your money, with your financial capacity to change the world. So with the moment we start utilizing those 4 muscles, those muscles start to become strong. and they start to grow. If you feel that, oh, I don't have money, I'm very weak financially, when are you going to become strong? You need to set up a goal for yourself, and even better, for society. Yeah, I want to achieve a certain, I want to benefit the society. And for that, I need money. Like today, I spoke with my senior Dada, and we are in very much fix how to find, financing for our, the center we are building. And the amounts which we are thinking, it's for me, it's incredible. I'm like, what? How we can get? But my brain is working. His brain is working. My brain is working. Already so far, we have attracted so much money for that project. You have been there. It's
Yeah, you've
so
done amazing.
it was, for me, it was incredible. How we can do, we don't have.
And that's the beauty of like picking a big target, because if you just did what you thought you could do, you wouldn't stretch yourself that much, But I think also people shouldn't think like someday I will have and then I will give, because I think that generosity is a state of mind. Like
It will
I've
not
been
grow.
there
The
before.
muscle will not grow. Like
Right.
this, I think this movie with this Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, about this turning points or something like this. He promotes this vegan diet, something. I don't know if you have seen.
Mm-mm.
So I think he was saying, either from that movie or from somewhere else I got, that let's say you are lifting the dumbbells, no? And then you do it 20 times. And 21st time you cannot do. The muscle grows at this very 21st time.
Right.
So
right.
this
At the
20,
edge of your capacity. That's where
yeah,
you're growing. Yeah, not when you're able to do it easily.
Yeah. So, and then all growth is overcoming of the fear. It is overcoming of these inferiority complexes in you. When you are, the main struggle here is in the head, because your head, your ego, your experience is protecting you. It's ensuring your survival. It keeps you out of trouble, but keeps you from development. As if
Right.
you're sitting in a room, and from that room, you are safe in that room. You are maybe not happy in that room, but you are safe there. So the ego keeps us in the place of safety, not in the place of happiness, not in the place of progress. So we have to fight with that ego, we have to fight with that fear, we have to fight with that inferiority and manifest our capacity. So every muscle, the physical muscle, like a physical labor muscle, like Kshatriyan, the warrior labor muscle, the intellectual muscle, and financial muscle, we must exercise, every one of us, to be a complete human beings.
I'd like to add just one more to the warrior type of service that you were bringing up. I think also it's about standing up against injustice. That's another thing that kind of develops that spirit. Like, and I think that that's actually a sort of essential part of spiritual development. Because you do become more sensitive to suffering, and you do have that choice. You could just, oh, there's nothing I can do about it, but you can also be like, no, that's not okay. And developing the courage, because it takes a kind of moral courage to sort of stand up, to take some sort of activist role in society. For me personally, my attraction to this particular path of meditation was because I couldn't decide at that time in my life. I'd had a first little experience of doing a bit of activism, and it was very empowering. And at the same time, I felt like I really needed a spiritual path. But I thought these two things were totally in conflict with each other. It's like, or I have to go out, I was looking for volunteer opportunity, or I go out to Peace Corps, go do something good for the world, or I go to an ashram and I go inside and I, develop a strong inner life. But I thought these two were going in opposite directions. For me, this was a completely new idea of like that these two could be combined, that there's kind of like a yogi activist, like somebody who's deeply spiritual, but also deeply caring, deeply engaged in the world and trying to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. You know, like actually.
I'm not sure that I like this word activist. It somehow it has some sort of narrow connotation. To me,
Okay.
I prefer the word sadvipra, or an ideal human being, a perfectly developed human being. So every portion of our existence we must develop. We should not remain incomplete.
Mm.
Yeah, and then you can only develop through action. You cannot develop it through just conceptualizing.
Wishful thinking, like,
Yeah,
oh, the world should be like this.
yeah,
Everybody should be nice to each other. Everybody should be kind. You know, it's so easy to say these things. And people have been saying that stuff for a long time. Why doesn't it change? On some level, everybody knows the should. We should. But there's this gap between the should, and you were talking about that at the very beginning of our conversation, you know, the sangvit, like then, and then actually taking it into action. Like to move from should, we should act with compassion to all beings or whatever. And, you know, something that sounds nice in writing and in like this. Yes, that's a very nice thing to say. Nobody will contradict you on some level. But practically, where's that gap? Why is there that gap? How
I
can we
don't think
reduce that gap?
I don't think that on the level of should we already achieve perfection. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think people understand what they should and what they shouldn't. It's my whole life I'm trying to understand precisely that, what I should, what I shouldn't, and okay, on the simple ways, but to acquire that kind of wisdom, it requires a lot of effort also to really understand the very meaning of life, what how you do, and of course, as we started talking, that understanding is not enough. That's already a lot. That's what I'm saying, that we need an ideology,
Yeah.
understanding, but then action to embody that ideology
Now, is that
and the system.
ideology external, something that we have to learn externally from a source outside of ourselves? Or you said it's about parallelism. Is it something that we have to align with internally?
I think some lucky people, some very developed people, very intuitional people, they can learn it from themselves, from
Mm.
inside, just by asking the questions. Like you see, there were, different philosophers, like Plato and Aristotle and Socrates. And then just you look at the ideas of those people, they're just so incredible. And you think these people, they were living 3,000 years ago, around that. And they were so profound. They invented the basis of our knowledge. They have invented the basis of our science. It's so incredible. So they go just pure brilliance of the internal contemplation. So it is possible, but out of 40 billion people who lived for all the time in the planet, how many Aristotles are there? Very few. So we need an external source to learn the proper knowledge. That's why there is this transmission of knowledge. There is a system of education. It's like the wisdom of generations we are transmitting. And that's why a spiritual teacher is so very important, because spiritual teachers, they create cultural continents, like Jesus Christ you take. He has created, or I don't know, he or his disciples, Paul maybe,
Mm.
no, they created the continents, the cultural continents. They means vast realms of ideological realms. The Buddha, what a profound effect he had on humanity. So yeah, we need those external. The role of spiritual teacher, the role of guru is incredible.
Yeah. And I see also, by the way, that there is a question in the chat. Um, and what do you see as like, how can we develop the qualities, you know, what's the role of meditation? Kind of taking it back to that first question, is meditation selfishness? You know, how is meditation a part of developing those muscles that you're referring to? Like, and is it enough by itself, or does it need to be combined with other specific actions to make a complete life?
Yeah, unfortunately, not enough by itself.
Okay.
It's a part of it, and I have seen many people, they leave spiritual path because they are not able to balance action and knowledge. So they gain that spark inside, but then they're not acting in it. Somehow the fear is stronger than the desire to progress. So you have to learn a particular belief system also, like what benefited me very much in my life, that I learned the secrets of success by Shiva, the 7 secrets of success. And I thought a lot about it. Now we are making these big courses on the secrets of success, but not in English yet. Soon is going to come. So when I contemplated on those teachings, that's what gave me the personality to move, to work, to create life, to create, the world. So, and then it is in the teachers of the teachings of the great masters like Krishna, like Shiva. Shiva says, "Parishrami navina karya siddhir bhavati durlabha." It means without well-directed effort, without focused work, success is out of reach. There is no success. You must focus and you must work. Or Krishna says, the wise yogi who is proficient in actions, let him inspire others to actions. So it's a beautiful teachings. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you find there is no inaction there. There is no this kind of pseudo spirituality where, like, we do some cacao ritual and we drink some, we all become enlightened, we talk, enlightened. We are all awareness and we are all non-toxic and we also maintain our boundaries and things like that. And we are so sensitive, or I feel your vibrations, a little bit disturbing my aura and things like that. So that is a kind of garbage spirituality. It's not spirituality at all, because real spirituality is this brilliance. That brilliance either comes from you or comes from your teacher. Like many times, sometimes the brilliance came out of me. I felt, okay, I have to do this. Just internally it has come. Or sometimes it came from my teacher. My teacher would say me, you do this. And I'm like, oh, I'm afraid. No, you can do. I expect from you this. And then I do. So that's a beautiful path.
Kind of the yogi work ethic.
Yeah.
You have to have the inner inspiration, but you also have to have the right work ethic to kind of be successful.
What do you mean by work ethic?
Well, when you're talking about secrets of success, having the right way to, the right attitudes, toward your relationship to the external world, I guess is how I'd put it. Not work ethic in the ordinary way, but like in how you're directing your efforts so that they will.
Is the set of your beliefs, something that you strongly believe. It's like a very core principles in your life. Those principles, if you learn, they carry you just like a sheep, like a horse. They carry you towards the success.
So you have to have the right mindset.
Mindset, exactly.
More popular word.
Yeah, mindset, yes.
Yeah, it's about reading the right. Okay, let's take a few of the questions that have come up this week in your videos. And also there's one here, which I think is kind of tuning into what you were saying about how we have to become free of fear. So it's here in our chat, like we have to show everyone that 90% only meditative people create something good in this world. I'm not sure what they meant by that though. If you're listening, please clarify a little bit. And we have to motivate them to practice, that anyone who reaches something good has to be open and share that it's because of meditation and connection. Okay, so I guess what the person's saying is that people who are meditating should share more that they're meditating and how that's connecting to what they're doing so that they can help people become free of the fear to meditate or free of fear in general.
Absolutely. And I think this is one of the most important works because we create a new culture. It's just like a butterfly and a caterpillar. So the caterpillar, the first thing that happens, just one tiny cell of not caterpillar-like appears in its body. And then the whole immune system is fighting with this cell. But
Oh,
this
that's so
cell,
amazing.
but
Yeah.
that cell is very fanatical. That cell is like, no, 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 I'm not going to give up. And then it become 2 cells, then 4 cells. And then
Imaginal cells, they call them, I think.
yeah,
Imaginal. It's such a cool word.
what cells?
Imaginal.
Imaginal. Like
Yeah.
totally new, no? Like
Yeah, like
visionary
they're
cells.
imagining the future, like a different thing, you know, because
Right.
they're imagining, I'm not a caterpillar, I'm a butterfly.
Exactly.
And they're going to produce a whole revolution in that structure.
Precisely. And at some point, the cells of the caterpillar, they are less than the cells of the butterfly. And then they change the behavior. And then it goes into cocoon, and then finally completely new creature comes out.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, here's some of your questions from this week. How do we cultivate? Oh, by the way, there was just a comment here. Somebody is, I think, just affirming what you said, that they were at a cult conference in Berlin and there was exactly a cacao ceremony and a mix of shamanic South American plus Buddhist Hindu rituals, Finnish witches and Greek pagans. Wow, all over. Anyway.
Well, I think I have nothing against cacao. That's no problem. Just when the spirituality stays on that level of just satisfying the ego that, oh, I am kind of a special person, and I think that's very boring and that's very unsatisfying in the long term. You feel that for many years I'm doing all these things, but there is no real unfoldment of my potential.
Yeah.
I am
I
not
also
really blossoming from that.
I also don't want to put that down, just in the sense that I also experimented with all kinds of things before I found this particular path. And I think it's good when people are sort of open and curious. But yeah, there can be, I don't know, like I think spirituality is really about harnessing our deepest potential as a human being to be a really, you know, good member of society and helping to bring our society forward. It's not just about, I don't know, because there's so much individualism in the culture. So it can easily just be like about just something I do to feel good inside, or to feel, like you said, special, important, different, you know, affirmed. Yeah.
Actually, both in Tantra, like Tantra is the core spirituality. So there are 2 branches. One is subtle, one is crude, and both are very important. And in both, the very essence, if you look into the very essence, what are those branches? They are about struggle. The first subtle portion of the Tantra is the struggle to rise your consciousness, or you can say Kundalini Shakti, to rise your Jiva Bhava, the state of being, into a cosmic being.
Yeah.
And that requires a tremendous concentration. We have to sit and struggle, and then finally we achieve bliss. After going through so much of, focusing, concentration of the minds, fighting with, negative thoughts assailing you, but you keep in your, spiritual ideation. So that's the essence of this process is struggle. It has nothing to do with relaxation and, things like, of course, you can say that to learn Pratyahara yoga is also about relaxation. You have to learn how to relax, how to let go of many things. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Letting go and forgetting, like you say, there's a part forgetting, there's a part remembering.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, a lot of people have this idea about Zen and being Zen, but they have a very superficial idea. Like Zen means do nothing and let everything happen, let the universe decide kind of idea. Whereas actually, my understanding is that comes from the idea of Wu Wei. And Wu Wei means doing, not doing. But it actually is referring to letting go of your small ego's doing, the small part of yourself that wants to control. But being open to that non-doing means let the deeper flow tune into that ideology, actually, as you were referring it to, tune into that parallelism, make yourself in parallel with a flow that is bigger than you, that can carry you, that's not your small ego. This is for me what, when they're referring to the Tao or to to like Zen or something, it's not about just do nothing and be passive. It's more of a letting go of ego.
Yeah, and that cannot be achieved without struggle.
Yes.
The state of flow is a state of extreme discipline. It is the state where your mind has become so calm and so quiet and so attentive to that inner intuition, so it can just be obedient slave of that cosmic flow. Many people, at least in my culture, they're very upset about this Christian idea that I'm a slave of God, servant of God. So there is this kind of, I'm slave to no one.
Oh,
This is a very honorable state when your mind has become an obedient tool to this highest,
yeah.
to the genius within you. So that's what means to be a slave of God.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. You just got a shout out from someone, Kubin, who says, your meditation course has changed my life.
So happy to hear that.
Yeah. And here we have a question. How do we cultivate healthy spiritual boundaries without becoming selfish? So quite connected to what we've been talking about today.
Healthy spiritual boundaries. I'm not sure what does it mean. I really try to understand. So it
I
means
don't
like
know if it means spiritual boundary, because in a way, as I read it out now, you're right. Like, does it mean that I should have a boundary with spirit? I don't think so. I think it means as a spiritual person, um, how do I have boundaries? I will rephrase it. I hope that I'm catching the person's idea well. But I think that they would be referring to, how do I have boundaries that protect my spirituality without becoming selfish? Like, let me give you more of a practical example. Maybe like a mother, needs to have time to do her meditation. And but if she goes off and does her meditation, maybe the family feels like she's being selfish and neglecting them. So how does she establish a boundary? A boundary for me is something that protects. It's not to keep people out, but it's to protect, something important like this. So if your spirituality, if your meditation, whatever you're doing, needs to be cultivated, it needs to be protected. Like you need to create space for it. And that can look like selfishness to people around you. So how to do that well?
Well, I guess
Especially,
in a day there are many activities that we just need to allocate time to, and just be disciplined with that. Means there is time for work, there is time for family talks, there is time for dinner, there is time for lunch, there is time for exercise, there is time for everything basically. So once you establish that time and you explain the people who are around you that this is what I do, this is important for my health, my emotional health, and yeah, a little bit support the selfishness of others. Like you go for retreat, bring something tasty from there or some presents.
that's nice, nice
Yeah,
life hack, I
yeah, it
think.
means people should not feel that you're really selfish. It's not because of meditation, but if you're ignoring your duties, if you're not giving enough attention to your dear and near ones, that's where they start feeling that you are selfish. It's not
Yeah,
because you are doing meditation, but because there is no connection. If there is a proper talk, if there is a honesty, if there is transparency, if there is, like discussions, then I think there is no problem.
very good. Also, it can be, there was a clarification also here on if people are giving out a lot, like they're serving a lot, they're out of their spiritual practice to strengthen those muscles, and serve the society. And there's a lot of takers around. You're a giver,
Mm.
and there's takers. There's like people who are some people call them energy vampires or whatever. So if you're surrounded by takers, then how to deal with that and not, you want to be generous, you want to give, but is there a limit?
Yeah. You have to understand the concept of service, the four muscles that I explained. So sometimes person asking for something, but he needs something else. So he asks you money, but he needs a discipline. So if you are able to serve him discipline, you have done service
Mm.
to
So
a
it's not
person.
always what people want. You have to kind
Yeah,
of be
like for
like
example, an alcoholic, he will ask you for a bottle of vodka or
of
whiskey,
course,
right?
sure.
And that's if you give, he will think you are a very great person.
That's right.
But if you keep giving him, you will ruin his life. You will destroy his life.
You become an enabler, they call it.
Yeah. What you need to do is to practice two types of services. Number one, you practice kshatriya chitta seva, or the service of discipline. It essentially it is a form of I don't know how to say oppression or uh, forcing person to follow the righteous path, not allowing him to drink, creating circumstances where the person is incapable of manifesting his weakness.
Right.
But that you cannot serve for a long time like that. Okay, I know one man, his wife, very strict. So the moment she leaves the house, like she goes, for business trip, the moment she leaves the house, he goes to the shop, and then for whole entire 2 weeks he is drinking.
Oh, that's terrible. But
And
that's like a
then
child, like
let
discipline.
me finish the day.
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, already he knows that she's coming back on Monday, and then he start cleaning already on Saturday, bringing everything in order. So she's a very good, like with the iron fist she controls. But then he always breaks. He always goes back. So there is another form of service. Another form of service is intellectual, to awaken in the person a new hope, a new dimension in life, a new knowledge, a new source of joy, a new source of stability, new source of security, to,
Mm.
to let person heal from different, psychological dark spots in the soul. So that is the Viprachita Seva. So a person asks you for the money, but instead you are giving the discipline and you are giving sermons. And that service cannot go wrong. It will
Mm.
it will go well. And then maybe in the beginning the person will not be happy with you, will be hating you, but in the end the person will thank you. Like my Dada. My teacher of meditation, I used to hate sometimes. Really, very sincerely, very strongly, I used to hate him. But now I think this is the best man in my life. He was never shy from the conflict. If I'm doing something wrong, he would go and he would conflict with me. He doesn't care. He wouldn't be afraid of the conflict. And
He
that's how
wasn't a people pleaser.
yeah, that's how he served me. That's
Right.
how he served me.
Okay.
So service always, there is not too much of service. There is no problem.
Mm.
But you have to find what is the right way to serve the person at
There's
this particular moment.
a follow-up question that's very much just exactly on what you're talking about. Is there really no limit to giving? How do we serve without depleting ourselves?
Actually, if you doing the right thing, that very thing is going to fill you up with energy.
Mm. That's true.
If you are doing something wrong, that's not going to give you energy. So if you really build your life on the ego, on the idea of on your experience, and then I want, I don't want, I like, I don't like, then you are not really getting that source of cosmic energy. But
Mm.
if you really meditate that within you there is divinity, and that divinity is acting, and you act with kindness, you act with devotion, you act with the selfless love, you feel so charged, you feel so much energy. This is one. And another thing is that, meditation refuels you.
Yeah.
So be in that flow, in the state of bliss, and then you never get tired.
So then these two things have to be complementary, the meditation and the service.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also when you said that about it's like that same idea of the parallelism. No, when you're in that flow, then it's generating. It's not just coming from your limited self. It's coming from an unlimited source, and you're just bringing yourself into harmony with it.
Yeah.
All right, you've got another couple ones there, and then we'll wrap up. So, how do you let go without the ego trying to control the letting go process? This is a paradox,
How are you?
How do you let go? So, you need to let go, surrender.
Right.
But the ego might be trying to control the letting go process.
Right. So how to do that?
Yeah. How do you really let go? And not just that it's your ego trying to.
Yeah, discipline the ego. Through discipline, through following spiritual teachings. So you follow, basically to start feeling the flow, you just follow the spiritual ideology. You follow the moral principles, you follow different practices, and then you start feeling that. Yeah. And then slowly, but ego will not allow you to do. Sometimes it will just, no, I don't want. It will protest against your spiritual practice. It will sabotage your spiritual practice. So there will be struggle. It's like you are trying to domesticate a wild bull.
Yes. And the final one is when you feel completely disconnected from everyone and everything around you, what are the specific practices to find your way back?
When you feel disconnected from yourself,
everyone and everything around you, how do you find your way back? Are there some practices?
yeah, you start doing meditation. You start, especially kirtan. Kirtan, the very best thing when you're singing the mantra. Yeah.
I'd say also service, no? Like if you want to feel more connection with people, look for somebody who kind of like the seeds of karma, no? Like look for somebody else who's suffering and feels disconnected and lonely and see what you can do to make them not feel lonely. How can you serve another person? And then when you're meeting their needs, you're going to start to, I think it's pretty hard then not to feel authentic connection if you're working on giving connection to people.
Yeah, small actions of kindness will help also. We do collective meditation. It is a small group now, but I hope it will grow. Done by my friend Dada Ananda Swarup Brahmachari. So every Monday we do on Zoom collective meditation. So I'm pretty sure, and it is like my best advice would be to start spiritual practice, start the meditation. But sometimes it is difficult to maintain discipline just all by yourself. And when you are joined this kind of support group, you develop very fast. And you have kind of flow. So I will leave, if you're interested, I will leave the link in the, no, actually best not to have the spams and all these things. I will leave the link for the Telegram channel, and then from there you can go. Always join. There is always advertisement. There is always, we publish the link there.
So we've got a few more interactions from our live chat. Glad you're touching these subjects for a whole world equilibrium. Greetings from Mexico. And Dada, it's a that was, I already said. And good morning. Thank you for a great video, support, and greetings from Oregon. And a longer one, which I think was a clarification on that first one that I didn't quite understand the beginning part. So it said, I mean that if we want more people to come to meditation, but these potential people are looking for money and material things, more business people or others who get blessings and get rich, have to speak about the way they became rich because of the fear they don't say. People learn meditation, and if we motivate that business and popular people to speak about meditation more, it will work well. I personally understand that it's after meditation, my mind has opened and I see what to do and how to do, where is money in everything. And if people who are openly looking for money, which is most of the majority of humanity, I understand that after meditation, it opens. Even if they will start practicing from here, soon they will understand not only about money more and more and more from Inalina.
Good idea. So now we need to implement this idea. And normally when you have that idea, you are the best person to implement.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work, because God gives idea to you. And you are the one to implement it. So that's this idea that has given to you by God. That's will develop you. This is like your personal mission.
That's right. That's right. It gives you a little bit of responsibility too when you get those intuitions. And you got another one here. Namaskar, Dada and Didi. Do you think the best way to quit pseudo-culture from one's personal life is to dedicate oneself to connect with more subtle expressions and activities? From Meteo Sarwan.
Yeah, it helps. It's you need to develop the taste. Like pseudo culture is very, very bad taste, and you need to develop the taste for something which is higher than the taste of pseudo culture, and that comes from really discipline. It's a proper attitudes to life, like like people believe today when they see in the social networks the rich and beautiful life apparently without efforts, like there are movies like Secret, for example. It is the Bible of pseudo culture. It's like you think positively, you attract the law of attraction, and then without any action, without any effort, you are going to be rich, you are going to be famous, the universe will give you everything. So this is exactly opposite to real culture, because everything
Real
comes
spiritual culture.
spiritual culture. I mean, culture is always spiritual. Real culture is based on spiritual cult. So and then you are what I was talking about. You're even, for example, even you get the money, even you get the house, you're still not going to be satisfied with that. Because what you really value, what you really appreciate is when moving this threshold of your capacity, when you are overcoming yourself, when you're overcoming your fear, when you're overcoming your weakness, and then you are becoming strong. If you have earned $1 million, is one feeling. And if I just give you $1 million, is another feeling. You understand? It's different. Even if you earned $10,000 and I give you $1 million, it's different feeling. What you earn, you really appreciate more. You really, it's because we are really here in the school to develop our souls, and any kind of achievement develops us. So this idea that spirituality, just I attract this, I attract that, that's not spiritual idea.
Yes. Oh, there's so many things. We could do a whole video, I think, on that topic.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk. Yeah,
You've got
later.
one last thing, and I think we should wrap up. Acrobob69 says, I really like the interpretation of the miracle of the transformation of water to wine, the spiritual state. This makes me want to learn more interpretations of Christ's miracles from Dada. Was that something you covered in your last video?
Not last. I did the video on alcohol, and then
it wasn't there.
I was talking that actually, the wine is sacred. Is like both in Christianity, the Christ transforms water in wine. In one way, it was in the marriage, and it was like mundane interpretation as a miracle. But there is more mystical interpretation, and that mystical interpretation that, he transforms the mundane knowledge into spiritual knowledge, into bliss, basically. So, and also the same sacredness to the wine is given by Sufi.
Yes.
Sufi. And of course, it is not the wine, the alcohol. It is the wine of the
pineal gland,
of your amrita, your juices of your brain. They come down, and then you enjoy the divine bliss.
Somebody's a bit contradicting you. Pseudoculture is still culture, even the spiritual. Let's say in
No.
the end, pseudoculture will prevail, and at the end, our whole culture will perish. However, even during the prevalence of pseudoculture, people can still realize the power of spirituality.
No, no. Pseudoculture is the exact opposite of the culture. It is the poison which is poisoning the humanity. It's even the Shiva, a long time ago, almost 7,000 years ago, he said, Loka vyamoh karaka. They are spreading the poisons, they're infusing the poison into the mind of the people. And then he was referring to so-called philosophers who are promoting the materialistic thought, the materialistic thinking. So that was very strong statement from the Shiva. So pseudo-culture is not a culture. It is parasiting on the culture. We have what we have because of our culture, because of our qualities. You know this statement that the strong people, the hard times they create strong people create good times create soft people create bad times.
Hard times.
So hard
I like
times.
that. Yeah, I heard
So
it.
it is because of our merits, because of our virtues, we have built civilization.
Yeah.
And as long as there is a balance, of course, as long as the culture prevails, yes, it is going on, it's going to continue. But when the pseudo-culture becomes too prevalent, then society is going to collapse. Society is going to collapse back into wilderness until again, out of our primordial, force, barbaric virtues, like desire to live, desire to struggle, desire to succeed, again we rebound back into the proper culture. So yeah, pseudo culture is not good. It's
Great conversation with you, Dada. And I'm really excited to see there was a lot more interaction this time. So people are with us. And thank you to everybody who gave us some comments and interactions and also is commenting on the videos during the week because we're listening and we're taking inspiration from what your questions are there. So any last words that you would like to say to conclude?
no, I think we will wrap it there.
Okay.
Of course, I would like to promote, meditation course and things like that. So go through it. Your life will be changed. In 3 months, you will feel a different person.
Yeah,
And it
that's
is
right.
free. I am not charging anything. It's just for you to practice.
Thank you, Dada. Namaskar.
Namaskar.